Talk right here on FYNTV.com. I want to say hi to all the folks at Johnny's New York Style Pizza in Jasper, and also to our team, FYN Sports Team, of course, bringing you this production here tonight. And just a reminder, again, you can watch this show live on FYNTV.com or on demand as well under the Team FYN Sports tab. I'm your host, Dave Garner, joined by another cast of characters this week. But as always, Coach Jeff Nelson joining me to my right here inside the Jim Lock Fieldhouse. The Dragons with a big win on Friday night, with a big game on Friday night against the Heritage Generals. And, of course, another big game coming up this week against Northwest Whitfeild. It is a win-and-you're-in scenario for the Pickens Dragons, and we're certainly looking forward to that ball game there. We'll talk about that one in our second segment a little bit later on tonight. Also joining us here on the program this week is the DB and Special Teams Coordinator here at Pickens High School, and a former Dragon alum who, of course, has come back. We had Coach Hunter on a couple weeks ago. You guys played together, so it's good to see you back on here again.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And we got two players here, two familiar faces in this first segment. We've got Parker Rhodes at the end of the table, and we got big lineman there, Aaron Duncan, to his left there as well. Guys, thanks for being with us. All right. Yeah, these guys are ready to talk now. They're pros at it. Let's talk about the game on Friday night. Dragons do fall 23-7 in that ball game against Heritage. And, Coach, real quick, we'll kind of move on because we've got a big game this week. Won't spend a lot of time talking about it. But, again, you guys fought. I mean, we knew coming into the game that Heritage was going to pose a challenge. They always do. It's been a great series back and forth. You guys actually come out, take the lead early on. Devin Hand, 11-yard touchdown run. 7-0, converted a fourth down play on that drive, and things were looking pretty good early.
Yeah, we started out well. We still had a few miscues, but we were able to overcome it. And I thought the fourth down and 10 play was just a little too long to try field goal and too short to kind of in no man's land there. So we decided to go for it. Just a real well placed pass, and kept the drive moving, and then we walked it down the field and kind of did what we had talked about in practice. So that first drive, I felt like we did what we had worked on, and things kind of came together.
Yeah. Dragons down 14-7 at halftime, came out second half, able to move the football, just not able to punch it in, but a couple of nice plays, particularly on the defensive side. Michael Hand had a nice interception. I mean, there was definitely some great individual efforts and team efforts that stood out on Friday night, despite the loss there. But it's as we talk about, it's a learning process. A lot of younger guys, as we've talked about throughout the season, getting a chance to play and getting a chance to shine.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of young players, a lot of sophomores and some freshmen, and with that comes some mistakes and learning from it. And but I thought the kids, they played hard. And that's the one thing we can say about each and every game this year. These kids are number one, resilient with all the uncertainty. And we've talked about that on several shows. They've kind of been neither too high or too low. They've kind of taken it in stride. And so I thought Friday night, kids weren't down when we got behind a little bit, but again we make mistakes, and with that youth sometimes it's hard to overcome those. Whereas a older, more experienced team steps up and doesn't let it bother them. It's just kind of tough when these young kids make a mistake and they don't have the experience to overcome that sometimes.
Absolutely. Hard-fought game on Friday night. Again, the Dragons fall a little bit short, though. But, again, this week, as we talk about the win or an in scenario as far as the Dragons go for the postseason there. And, I want to talk about it, and then we'll work our way around the table there. But I think for teams in the state to get 10 games in this year be an anomaly. I mean, most of the teams, I think, in our local area and beyond are teams that are going to have 8, 9 games or maybe even less than that played. So it definitely, as we talk about moving into the last week now and kind of focus ahead, it's going to make the playoff scenarios very interesting for a lot of these regions around North Georgia to come up with their 4 teams.
Yes, there's so many different scenarios. Teams have gone with point systems, and every point system's different, and there's not a standard. This is what you do, and because we're in uncharted territory, and so you see one region is doing things one way, one's doing another, and region coaches are having to get together and kind of go over this stuff and make sure it fits and it all looks good early. And then when it comes down to having to use it, then you always find something that's not quite. And that's just the way it is. And, you know, there's not a fair system for everybody. Somebody's always going to, it's going to always have an advantage from one group and a disadvantage to another.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
That's the way it is. Absolutely. Want to thank all of our Team FYN sponsors for being on board with us right here. Of course, want to encourage folks to follow us at Team FYN Sports on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Again, at Team FYN Sports for all your North Georgia High School scores and updates. And be sure to hit the like button on our Facebook page as well. We would definitely appreciate that there. This is our final show of the season. Again, we don't typically do a show after the final regular season game as we gear up for the playoffs and so forth. So again, the swan song show here tonight for Dragon Talk, but we've enjoyed it and it's been a lot of fun. Let's talk Coach Shaw. Welcome back on the program. You've been on here before, repeat offender.
Yep.
We were talking about some of the other coaches. There might actually be a couple of coaches, assistant coaches, that we're not going to get to this year. We talked about that. So, but we get to go out with the best, right? I mean, you're here.
You said it, not me. So.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about, we've talked a lot of the other coaches, a lot of the position groups and so forth. Let's talk DBs. I mean, I know that's your focus on Friday nights and throughout the week. Talk about the group that you have, because we got a couple of DBs here tonight, but this group's come together very well. You guys have been opportunistic in the back end of this defense, week in and week out. How's this young group come together?
They've definitely came together from my first year being here, which was last year, to this year. I've got a couple of seniors, and they play some meaningful reps, but we've got some young guys, Parker included, playing some good reps for us. And, I mean, we're all hands on deck. This year we hadn't known from week to week what was going to happen, so we've really had to make sure everybody's on the same page. And we've gotten better where everybody knows assignment and alignment. And, I mean, we still making mistakes, but we're, like Coach said, we're coming out every day, practicing and going hard, and same things in the game. We're making mistakes sometimes, but we're correcting and we're getting better.
Right. And you're in a unique situation, as I said earlier. Obviously, you're alum. You're from the area. You played here. You're a pretty good little safety too, from what I remember. I think and everything. Quarterback as well. You played on both sides of the ball. But talk a little bit about the communication in the back end, how important it is for these guys, and particularly matching up against. I mean, when you look at some of the teams you guys have played this year, I mean, you've lined up against some pretty good athletes. You guys have been able to come up with some big plays and do some different things. So what are some things that you've stressed to these guys and focused on as far as technique and so forth?
Well, one thing we're going to do as a coach staff on Sundays, and we're going to do the best thing we can do to put them in position to make plays. And so that's on us for starters, coaches, and that's what we're trying to do when we're meeting all together. But, I mean, we're going to get out there, and from Monday till Thursday, we're going to rep formations that they're in, the plays that they're in, and then the coverage that we run. I mean, we're going to run mostly the same stuff all year, and then slowly build stuff in, maybe some newer stuff in. But
right.
Week to week, we're running our base stuff, and we're just trying to perfect our techniques.
Absolutely, and it's worked out well this year for the Dragons. The secondary's played strong. Defense as a group has played very well throughout the year as well. Let's talk to the players here for just a moment. And again, Parker, good nod from the coach there. He's complimenting you a little bit. You have played well. Talk about, at this point in the season, I mean, here we are, down to the last regular season game, big game against Northwest Whitfeild. I know things didn't go your way Friday night, but you guys are still very much alive and in it. What's the mentality of the team going into the game this week?
We definitely have to give it our all, because it's either this or go home. Nobody, I don't think anybody on the team wants to go home. I think everybody wants to keep on going, make it to the playoffs for the 8th year in a row.
Yeah.
So
you guys have quite a streak going, so definitely want to keep that going. I know it's been a crazy year with COVID and all the stuff. Just about everybody's been shut down. You guys were casualty to that a couple weeks this year as well. But you guys have fought through it. And the one thing that I've been impressed with this particular group of players and coaches, for that matter, is the ability to work through the adversity that y'all faced throughout the year. I mean, talk about this team and some of the things that you guys have went through, but how y'all have come together as a group and kind of built a family atmosphere, because it seems like that's what you guys have.
I mean, it's hard not knowing if you're going to be able to play, if we're going to be able to. It was different. It was definitely different this year, but I feel like we all came together, and each game we tried to give it our all. Like we never we don't know if we're going to be able to play again.
Right.
So.
Yeah, y'all have had a great attitude about it. Aaron, how about you? What your perspective, I guess, of things, to this point? Here we are now at the end of the season. I know it's crazy just being able to get to this point, thankfully. But talk about you guys, and particularly as the guys up front. We got a DB and a lineman paired in both segments here. But talk about your perspective up front and how you guys have come together.
I think especially just getting this far in the year, it's a great opportunity to put a good week of practice together, get a big win Friday night, and just move on to the playoffs. But up front, we've just been taking a run them off the ball mentality, just being very brutal and violent up front, and just being as best as we can.
There you go. Got to be physical up front. You guys have been physical all year long. What a good group of upperclassmen, but also a lot of younger guys that have stepped up as well and had to play. And you guys have been able to gel and come together. What about you individually? Is it anything that you're working on that at this point now in the season that you're wanting to maybe get down before this game on Friday night? Anything in particular you're focusing on this week?
Just in case it could be the last game for these seniors, you're trying to play to my fullest extent for them, just to try and get them at least one more week in this field house and on that field down there.
Absolutely. It's a little different walking in here tonight, because every week, as we're practicing and everything, I mean, you see the youth teams and down there on the field. Those seasons have basically been over with. So situation now where you guys as a varsity team are basically in the spotlight, and that lone team, I guess, it's kind of going right now. So a lot of attention will be on the game Friday night, and certainly looking forward to that. And we're up against our first break, so we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by a couple of other players, and we will, of course, have Coach Shaw and Coach Nelson back with us here in the second segment. But guys, thanks for being with us in this first segment. Again, Parker Rhodes and Aaron Duncan, great job as always, guys. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back in a couple minutes with more of this week's final episode of Dragon Talk. Stay with us.
At Ingalls, we know that school is a little different this year, with virtual learning and working from home. But we have continued to donate to our Tools for Schools program, just like always. And all our participating schools will have those funds waiting for them when the bell rings this fall.
Okay, who can tell me the difference between molarity and molality?
In the meantime, Ingalls has everything you need to make this school year a little easier. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Hi everyone, Dave Garner here. You might know me as a regular contributor to Team FYN Sports and the Instant Replay, but did you know I'm also your local Woodman Life representative? My job is to make sure that families are protected through needs-based life insurance and retirement. I want to make sure that you leave your loved ones with memories, not expenses. Call me today to find out how I can help you to not outlive your money and that your money outlives you. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. Those everyday celebrations that bring a smile to our faces and joy to our hearts. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
Welcome back to this week's Pickens Power Half Hour Dragon Talk right here on FYNTV.com, the final episode of the 2020 season. We appreciate our guests being with us right here. Of course, as always, Coach Jeff Nelson joining me. This week we've got Coach Jordan Shaw and our two players for this final segment of the season. Again, we've got with us Peyton Johnson, lineman, and also a kicker down there at the end of the table, and another familiar face right here with Jared Whitmore, senior running back, joining us right here. Guys, thanks for being with us. There we go. Got the Pickens green on here tonight, a little bit. So we appreciate you guys being with us. It's been a fun year. Dragons again with a big ball game on Friday night. As we said earlier in the program, win and you're in. Pickens playing Northwest Whitfeild. And Coach, let's jump in and talk a little bit about that game as well. Obviously, the Bruins come in traditionally very good team, 7-2 record coming in, 2-2 in the region. They beat Ridgeland last week, 58-6. So you guys close out the regular season with your third straight home game against these guys on Friday night. What do you look for in that one?
Well, it's going to be a hard-fought game. They're a well-coached football team, and typically we've had a good rivalry with them. So I look forward to be a good game. But I think if we do what we're capable of, we should be right in there with them. So
yeah, always have a lot of athletes. They've got some good ones certainly on both sides of the ball there, and it should make for a great game. Again, it'll be here on Friday night at Dragon Stadium, so I want to encourage fans to come on out. Maybe a little bit cold, but you expect it to be cold this time of year. I mean, we're almost at Thanksgiving, right? So bundle up, get out there and support the Dragons, and let's see if we can get into the playoffs. Again, a win by Pickens would put them in to the 4 teams coming out of the region, of course, going on into to round 1 there. We do want to thank all the folks with Johnny's New York Style Pizza. I want to thank all of our sponsors, and look for RJ Casey on the sideline. Again, he's been there each and every week. Enjoy reading his articles and recaps of the ball game there, and of course Team FYN Sports always highlighting and promoting student athletes in a positive way. And I also want to say hi to Mr. Lonnie Adams in the house here tonight, filling in for Emily Nicholson. Emily had the night off there, but Lonnie is pinch hit and does a great job as always on the controls there. All right, let's jump back in and talk a little bit about the game there. And Coach Shaw, we talked in the first segment DBs, but you're also special teams coordinator too, and it's easy to overlook that third phase of football, right? We talk a lot about offense, defense, but talk about special teams and how you guys have come together in that phase this year.
I think what we've done a really good job of concentrating on is you just got to be ready for anything. You don't know each week. The film shows you one thing, but everybody's putting in that new onside kick, onside punt. I mean, not onside punt, but fake punt, fake field goal, all that. You got to be ready, and we prepare for all that stuff each week. So, I mean, that's a big key.
Yeah, you guys hit a big onside kick late in the ball game, I guess, previous week as well. We talked a little bit about that right here on the program, and that of course, anytime you steal possession, from the other team, shortens the game a little bit. So those are definitely some big plays there. Who stood out for you in that phase? I mean, as far as anybody return game wise, kick wise.
Peyton actually did a great job for us last week when he filled in, when we had one sky kick and then one onside kick recovered by him. We were down our first kicker, and he did a great job filling in, so that's huge. We had Isaiah Williams had some big snaps after he had been out that game, or the game before, and same with him kicking PATs. That was 2 people filling in that not necessarily started the year at that job, that have just been plugged in and done a great job at practice getting ready for it and making it happen.
Right. One thing we always talk about with those long snappers, you never talk about them unless they snap it over the guy's head. When it's there, like it's supposed to be, it was supposed to happen that way. So kudos definitely to all those guys that are involved with that. Speaking of Peyton, he's back with us again because we had talked to you a little bit about the onside kick, from that previous show. And again, Peyton Johnson here with us as well, another senior, a lineman and also a kicker. So he's kind of all over the field. But guys, let's talk a little bit about this season. You guys were here for the first segment and kind of heard me ask those questions to Parker and to Aaron, but I'll ask you guys as well. I mean, to get to this point, you guys have had to fight through a lot of adversity. You guys have done a good job in handling that. Talk about how this team has come together here over these last couple weeks, and we'll start with you, Peyton. Get your thoughts.
Well, I think the young players have really stepped up, and normally your old players are going to be the ones that are carrying the load, and I think the young players have really stepped up and helped ease that load and let the seniors focus more on not just bettering themselves but helping the young players as well.
Right.
Good mix of guys that have certainly come together. Jared, welcome back to the program. A familiar face right here as well, and you've had a great senior year, as we know, and a great career here at Pickens High School. But talk about this group and how you guys have come together and fought through that adversity.
Well, whenever we got shut down, we didn't really hang our heads. Like Coach Myers, he would always send out some workouts for us to do, and we'd do those workouts and stay in shape. That way we'd come back strong. Right,
absolutely. We kind of joked around early in the year, with you, because, anytime, like your dad, Whitmore, come on, Whitmore, we know, when he's in the stands, but you've had a great senior season, and you guys have come together as a team. But talk about your role as a senior and kind of a leader on this team, and how you've tried to be kind of a good influence, especially for those younger guys.
Well, we really got to be a good influence for them so that they can continue, winning games whenever they get older, and that way they can, watch us and how we do stuff so that they can continue that way.
Right. And, as seniors, you guys have done a great job in leaving your legacy. As we've talked about, a string of playoff appearances since you guys have been here and part of the program. And so that's got to be special. What do you look for this week? Obviously you want to get out of there with a W. I know that. But how are you going to make that happen? What are some things that you guys are going to have to do well this week to win?
We really just got to clean up the mistakes that we made last week. we just had too many mental mistakes to win last week.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, you guys seem focused and ready to go, and so we're definitely rooting for you. Coach, talking about the game this week, it's one of those things where you're going to match up against some good athletes. What's kind of the focus for you this week in practice, and kind of what you're telling your guys?
We just got to execute. It's game 9 or week 10. Everybody by this point, what they do and what they do well. They know what we do well. So It just comes down to who's going to execute. We want to start fast and just understand that they're going to make a good plays. We're going to make good plays.
Right.
We're going to make some bad plays, some mistakes. But who's going to make the next play?
Yep.
That's all that matters, is who's going to make the next play until that game ends.
Yeah, and you guys have, you've been blessed with some playmakers this year. Obviously, Jared, we know, has been a big part of the success of this team. Guys like Peyton that have kind of filled in wherever they've needed to go and whatever they've been asked to do, and that's obviously a great dynamic to have. Coach Nelson, same thing to you. Obviously, we know it's a big game. It's always the final game of the season is always the big one, and particularly this year because it has playoff implications. Like we were talking about over the last couple of weeks, just to get to this point, feels pretty good finally, because I know you guys have been through a lot. But it seems like this group really has come together. The coaches, the players have kind of bought in and kind of come together. And, even though you guys have a lot of young guys, these guys I think the one thing that really stands out to me about this team is just how hard they play. Even no matter what the score is, late in fourth quarter, we're not seeing guys loaf. We're not seeing guys, just kind of give up. These guys are, like they always say, I know it's a cliche, but playing to the final whistle. But this team really does have that mentality.
Yeah, they do, and I think it really is a testament to our senior group. Where they're a small group. Over the years, you'll see senior classes that are 22, 23, 24 kids, and then you'll have them, down in the 17, 18. This is a very small group at 11, but their leadership has been much bigger than that. The kids look up to them and listen to them, and they've kind of kept this thing rolling, and it would have been very easy for these kids to lay down, and after we got shut down for a second time, once right before the season, one just past the midway point, and that was tough. And but again, I've said it several times. These kids have just kind of rolled with the punches and have been even keeled. They haven't gotten a 2 up or 2 down, and just I think the mentality we said earlier is we're just going to play the next game. That's all we're going to worry about. The one coming up, we won't worry about anything else. And they really have taken that to heart, and they've practiced that way and played that way. I think Jared pointed out, and I think us as coaches have said it on here all the time. When we clean up the mistakes and play 4 quarters of football, we're a pretty decent football team, especially being as young as we are.
Mm-hmm. Resiliency is the word too you used earlier that I really like, and I think it definitely suits this team for sure in the way they have played. Guys, you're seniors. What are your plans after this? Have y'all made up your mind? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in this season, but any kind of looking beyond high school? Got some college choices maybe picked out? Anything going on?
Yeah, I've actually been accepted to Georgia Southern University to go down there, and probably won't play football, but I'm definitely going to support the football team no matter what. I'm going down there for athletic training, so I may end up being on the sidelines some Saturday night. So.
Good tradition down there in Statesboro for sure. I'm sure they'll be glad to have you. Jared, how about you?
I'm looking to go play college football and major in sports studies.
Okay, great. Good stuff. We will definitely be keeping our eye on you because we know that you definitely have the ability to do that. And so maybe you'll continue in a long line of Dragons to move on to the next level. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Guys, good luck on Friday night, and we'll definitely be rooting for you. Get after him, man. Get after him. Maybe we'll see you guys. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the playoffs the following week. So proud of you for sure. Coach Shaw, thanks for being with us as well. As always, it's a pleasure seeing a former Dragon come back and seeing the influence that you have on these guys. And I know that you've watched them come through, even because, with the middle school program and the high school. So you've seen these guys, I guess this particular senior group, come through.
Yep.
So
it's been great to be back. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And Coach Nelson, thanks for being with us. As always, you're the one that gets the group together every week, and we appreciate you putting this together and showing up every week and being a good sport.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap things up. Again, this is the final show of the year. It's been another great season of Dragon Talk. Thanks to these guys and Coach Nelson for putting it together, as always, here inside the Jim Lock Fieldhouse. We do want to thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank Johnny's New York Style Pizza in Jasper. Want to thank RJ Casey, as we said, down the sideline each and every week. Of course, our team here at FYNTV.com and at Team FYN Sports. Be sure to hit us up on Facebook with a like, and also follow us on Twitter for highlights, scores, and updates of all of our North Georgia area teams. And that's going to wrap things up. Once again, the Dragons with a big ball game on Friday night against Northwest Whitfeild. Get out here, support the Dragons, and let's root these guys in to the postseason. For our entire crew and for Lonnie Adams, I'm Dave Garner saying so long, everyone. It's been a great season. We'll see you next time.